Welcome students to another CPM lesson. Today we are doing lesson 2.1.4. This is the fourth lesson in chapter 2. You should have your notebook open to 2.1.4. Today we're talking about what makes 0. In our previous lesson we were talking about how do we make negative, and today we're going to use those thoughts, build on it, and we're going to talk about what makes 0. But before we get started, we are going to talk about these likely situations, okay? So we need to pay attention to what do each of these situations have in common. Can we represent each of them using symbols? So let's go ahead and look at each of these situations. Situation number 1. Julie babysits for her neighbor's baby and stuffs the $15 she earned into her purse. When she gets home, the $15 is nowhere to be found. She must have lost it. Okay, notice that I use symbols to read this problem. Number 2, the Burton Pumas football team completes a pass and gains 12 yards. But on the very next play, the quarterback holds onto the ball too long and gets sacked, losing 12 yards. Oh, man. Situation number 3. Rolando is at the beach. He digs a hole in the sand and places the sand he removes in a pile next to his hole. Do we know how much sand Rolando dug? I don't. It says he removes a pile of sand, so I'm going to call, what do I don't know? Oh, I call variables things that I don't know. Notice that removes is the negative. Someone comes along and pushes that pile back into the hole. My question is, what do these 3 situations all have in common? Okay, well, let's go ahead and start writing. This is problem 2-34. You got 2 lines to write this sentence. All 3 situations gained something and lost something. All 3 situations gained something. Yes, I'm considering a hole. He gained that hole. And then lost it. Lost his hole. All 3 situations gained something and lost something and ended up at 0. Today's question. What makes 0? Well, opposites make 0. I want you to write that. Opposites, after you wrote all 3 situations, gained something and lost something ending in 0, period. Opposites make 0. That's the key to today. Opposites make 0. Notice, opposites make 0. Okay? So let's be a little bit more specific. This is 235A and B. It's not labeled A and B, but they are the first 2 boxes, A and B. Okay? How can you represent 0 with tiles on an expression map? Well, if you remember to the previous lesson how to make negatives, there are 2 ways to make negatives. And I'm going to go ahead and write these down. I want you to write them down. We have negative tiles, and we have negative regions. These are the 2 ways to make negative. So if those are the, basic premise, negative tiles, negative regions, how do I build that? Okay, well, let's go ahead and grab a positive tile and grab a negative tile. Okay? I want you to draw a shaded X tile and a negative X tile, unshaded, and this is going to give me x minus x. Positive tile, negative tile. Notice they are opposite colors. Opposite colors. Okay, same shape, same size, but opposite colors in the same region. Okay, let's do negative regions. Well, if I'm doing negative regions, that means that I need a positive tile. But how do I utilize the negative region? Do I put a negative tile in the negative region? No, because this makes 0, negative tiles, a positive and a negative tile. I can't do a double negative because a double negative, 2 negatives make a positive. So I can't put that down there. I have to put a positive tile in the negative region. Notice that when I do this, I get y minus parentheses y. Notice in our first situation, I have opposite colors, and over here, I have opposite regions. So I'm going to write that down. Opposite regions. When we're doing negative tiles, we have opposite colors. When I have negative regions, I have opposite regions. Okay? So go ahead and draw that. We have a positive y and a positive y sitting in the negative region. Okay? So we need to recognize that these two scenarios make 0. Okay? They make 0. So 2-36. 2-36. So 2-36, we have 2 more expression mats. What I want you to do is pause and draw this right now. Okay, now above it, I want you to write what we see. We see 2x minus x plus 1 minus parentheses 3. Go ahead and write that in. Okay, notice that I've got a blank one over here to the right still. Because what we are going to do is we are going to talk about how can I use this mat, can I simplify it and have the same representation with a different number of tiles. Okay, so let's go back to this thought that we've had about what makes 0. Okay, because life is really complicated. So how do I simplify it? How do I take something that's complicated and simplify it? So what we're going to do is we're going to circle the 0 pairs. On your paper, do you see the 0 pair? Do you see tiles that are the same shape, the same size, but opposite colors? Circle those. Okay, now, do you see matching tiles that are the same color, but in opposite regions? There's one of each, okay? I want you to notice that right here, I have same tiles, same shape, same size, but opposite colors. If they are opposite colors in the same region, that makes 0. If I have the same color, same shape, same size, but opposite regions, that also makes 0. And what I can do is I can make this into, yes, please draw the arrow. I can say, oh, if I were to simplify this, I could create this expression map. Because this whole thing has the same value over here. And I'm using a different number of tiles. Because, see, I need to use this idea of 0 pairs to simplify my life. So what I want you to do is make sure that you have your 0 pair circled. Notice opposite regions. Notice opposite colors. Okay, there are 2 ways to make negative, 2 ways to make 0, and I need to see how to make that moving into today. So please make sure you have that drawn in problem 2-36. Pause if you need to. Okay, 2-37, you are going to want to have your math notebook, or excuse me, your CPM ebook, looks like this. Okay, 2-37. It says build each expression so that your representation does not match those of your teammates. You don't have any teammates at home, so what I want you to do is I want you to open up eTools, Tiles. You're going to go to a background. You're going to get the expression map. Then you're going to open up Algebra Tiles. And all I want you to do is build what you see. Okay, well, the first one was negative 3x. Negative 3x plus 5. Negative 3x plus 5 plus y. Okay, I built it. I've got a spot in my math notebook to go ahead and draw what you see. In class, we talked about, well, is that the only way to draw it? No. I could take these 3 negatives, I could put them down here, but opposite region has to be the opposite color. This has the same value. Or, you know what I could do? I could just bring this out of nowhere. And I could just put those x squares there. They don't change the value, they change what it looks like. So this is one way that we built this. But while you're at home, all I want you to do for 37 is to build exactly what you see. Build this one, draw it. Build this one, draw it. Build this one, draw it. That's all I need, okay? In 2- pause to complete that problem if necessary. 2-38. You'll notice in your notebook that there's a blank spot just below problem 2-38. What we're going to do is we're going to look at these 0 pairs and write what we see, okay? So we're going to start with writing what we see. I see x minus 2x minus 2 minus parentheses negative 2. And then I'm going to write the word becomes beneath it. Okay? Look at this expression map. Do you see any 0 pairs? Do you see any opposite colors? Same tile, same region, same shape, size, just opposite colors. Do you see that? Right here? There's one 0 pair. Okay, now, look for tiles that have same shape, same size, same color, opposite regions. Everything same, only one opposite. Opposite region. You see them? See them right over here? And when we are using these expression mats, we need to be able to say, okay, what's left? Oh, it becomes negative x. Notice how we took this really complicated thing and we made it simpler. That's the goal of math. So here's what I want you to do in letter B. On your own, you're going to write letter B. You're going to write the expression. Then you're going to say it becomes blank. Now, if you need to build it or look at it, you can build it here in CPM. You can move it around. You could do that. That would be fine. Or if you want to just look at this one, pause the video, look at it, imagine it, cross it off, and write what it becomes. Pause the video to finish. All right, let's do our last problem. Last problem. Now, same thing, but this time we're going to make sure that we draw. Okay? I want you to, above the problem on the left, write it, draw it, circle the 0 pairs, and write the simplified version underneath. The last one, you're going to write it, you're going to draw it, you're going to circle any 0 pairs, and then you're going to write the simplified expression down below. Please note, this is not a 0 pair. Not. Because this says 1, this says minus negative 1. That is not a 0 pair. Don't do it. So, write, draw, circle, write it out again. This lesson is all about making 0 pairs and utilizing negatives, opposite color tiles, or opposite regions. Not both, one or the other. Okay? We're going to continue teaching you how to use these expression mats, use these tiles, so that we can actually do something with it. Okay? We're trying to make sense of these abstract ideas, but we've got to lay the foundation before we can actually do some of this math. Thanks for staying tuned for lesson 214. Please make sure that you're doing your review and preview as we go along, and we'll see you tomorrow.